I want to show you the 4 steps that will improve your vinyl record listening experience. And the last step is key. Barring warps and scratches, these are the 4 steps that I use every time I bring a record home, be it used or new. And I'm going to talk about new in just a little bit. I've talked about it before, but it's worth talking about again. Now, these 4 steps are called cabs. I coined that term myself. It's trademarked. No, I'm kidding. It is not trademarked, but they do stand for something, and it's very easy to remember. It helps you remember the steps. And if you're wondering about the umlaut over the A, there's a reason for that. The A does stand for something, by the way, but so doesn't the umlaut. And it's also an homage to one of my favorite bands. But the umlaut could also be associated with this band. I really miss Lemmy. And at the end of this video, all you have to do is remember cabs, and you will be all set, I promise. But before we go any further, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Sidetracked Workshop. Now check this out. I bought a bunch of these at IKEA to handle future record overflow. And these things aren't the prettiest solution. I wish I'd known about Sidetrack Workshop's work prior to purchasing these. These are beautiful, right? Now, these are all handmade in the US by Sidetracked Workshop. It's all high quality, sturdy wood construction in a mid-century design. It's all handmade in the US, but when they ship them out, they ship them for free in the US and they ship them fully assembled. So you don't have to put them together like you do with IKEA cubes. Some of these consoles they make also accommodate the turntable itself, so you can have your records and your turntable all in one console. And the folks at Sidetracked Workshop were kind enough to offer any viewer of this channel a 15% discount at checkout. So I'll leave the code in the description. You just pop it in when you check out. Now, back to what we were talking about, cabs. So the first letter in cabs is C, and I bet you already know what that stands for. Yes, it stands for cleaning. Now, I can't say this enough. I say it all the time, and again, it's worth repeating. Clean your records, both new and used. And again, I'm going to get to new in a second, but there is a reason for cleaning records, which, I mean, this is an obvious reason, but also it will improve your playback. I promise it will improve your playback. Those hiss and pops are usually the result of records that need to be cleaned. Also has to do with something else, which we'll get to. But new and used records, you don't have to spend money on an expensive cleaning solution. I use the record vacuum machines like the Record Doctor 10 and the Record Doctor 6. I love both of those machines. But you don't have to spend that kind of money. There's also ultrasonic machines, which are even more expensive than the Record Doctor solutions I use. But you can go cheaper for like $100. You can get a spin clean. I highly recommend the spin clean. I've used it for years. I still do use it as a rinse cycle after I've cleaned the record on the vacuum machine. But you can even go less expensive and go with the groove washer solution. That's another good solution. That's kind of based off of, some of you might remember this if you're a few decades old like I am, based off of the old disc washer solution from like the 70s and 80s. But you can even go cheaper than that and make your own solution. I make my own. And if you'd like to know what my ingredients are, just reach out to me at the website, joyofvinyl.com. But still, you just put that solution, let it sit on your record, and spread it around, and then give it a couple minutes and wipe it off with a microfiber cloth. It's probably the cheapest way to go. And I did that for years. So keep your records clean, new and used. Now, I told you I'd talk about new. If you've ever wondered why a new record sometimes will show up at the house or show up in your hands with smudges or stains on it that you just can't explain, take a look at this picture. That picture hurts a lot. I don't know what's going on there, but if you've ever wondered about how that happens or how Cheeto fingers end up on your records, that's probably an indication as to why. Now, the A with the umlaut stands for anti-static. That is one of the biggest culprits for attracting dust. Static attracts dust, the dust that we're trying to keep off of the record. Dust will affect your playback. It affects how your stylus tracks, can affect all sorts of things, especially those hisses and pops that you hear. So ways to get rid of that after cleaning is to put your record in an anti-static sleeve. I can't recommend that enough. You can use a polyethylene sleeve or a rice paper sleeve, But the point is, an anti-static sleeve, it doesn't eliminate static by any means. It just helps minimize or mitigate static as you're sliding the record in and out of the sleeve. So that's the first umlaut. Now, the second umlaut is there for a reason. It's to tell you about the second step. There's two steps to anti-static. First one being the anti-static sleeves, and the second one you don't have to use. I just recommend it, and it's this, the Zero Stat Anti-Static Gun. Now, I know some folks are skeptical about this, and I was extremely skeptical about it until I tested it out. It does work, and it will help remove static from your record. Again, it will not completely eliminate it, but there is a process behind it. And I did a video on this a while back on how to use the anti-static gun, because if you buy one today, say through Amazon or another online shopping present, what the hell am I trying to say, retailer? Another retailer online, chances are 99.9% of the time it's not going to come with a manual, and you're not going to know how to use it. It's not that it's complicated, it's just there is a little process to it. So I made a video about it, but after that, some folks reached out to me who actually had the manual from back in the 70s, early 80s, and one of them was kind enough to send me that as a PDF. So I'm going to do an updated video at some point, just because I've tweaked my process a little in using this. So I just zapped my record a few times for this before playing it to help mitigate that static. And we do not want the static to get to your stylus. Next up is B. And I bet you know what B is. B is brush. Now, this is an anti-static brush. You're going to see a trend here when we talk about static and anti-static. The bristles on this are carbon fiber, so they're anti-static. Again, does not remove static, but it helps reduce the amount of static as you sweep it across the surface of the record, which I do every single time I play a record. Before I drop that needle, I sweep this across the record to remove any dust and particles that might have accumulated. It helps, I promise you. Now, this one I bought on Amazon. It's about maybe 20 to 30 bucks. It's an Audio Quest brush. Highly recommend it. There are other brushes out there. The point being, you want an anti-static brush to sweep your record before you play it. Now let's move on to the S. The S stands for stylus. And I use this solution right here. It's a dry brush, and there are other brushes and other solutions you can use to keep your stylus clean. I do this once a day, just like brushing my teeth, which I hope you do too. So at least once a day, I will use this. I don't do it before playing a record, every time before I play a record, because if you do all of the steps that I just talked about leading up to this, your record should be as clean as it can possibly get before you play it. So once a day is fine. And I also use, here's another one that some people are skeptical about. Once a month, I will use a magic eraser to take care of the dust on my stylus that might have accumulated that this didn't get to. I do it once a month, and I also have a video about my process on doing that. I know folks are skeptical about it. It works. Once a month is good. Do this once a day. One thing to talk about when it comes to stylus and keeping your stylus clean, look at it this way. If you ever look through a dirty window, you don't see everything that's beyond the window. That picture it's muddy. It's the same thing if your stylus is dirty. If your stylus collects dust and dirt or oils or anything else, it's going to sound less detailed, but your sound quality especially will drop. And this one I bought, again, on Amazon by the folks at, I think it's Boundless. Yeah, Boundless is a B on it. I think that's Boundless. Anyway, about 20 bucks. Probably even less. It's not expensive and perfect to use. So that's the 4 steps of cabs: cleaning, anti-static, brush, and your stylus. Easy to remember. I promise you, you do those things, your record listening experience will be vastly improved. And if you want to know the process I use with the Zero Stat, you can check out this video that just popped up on the screen magically. And until next time, please take care of yourself and enjoy your records.